You're listening to the Pain Podcast, where we discuss and analyze trending issues on digital rights and inclusion in Africa and from around the world.
Hi, listeners. Trust you're having a good day or night, depending on where you're listening from. You're listening to the PIN podcast, where we talk about all things digital with a focus on digital rights and inclusion. I'm your host for today, Badunchi, and we have with us today in the studio from Paradigm Initiative, the Senior Programs Officer for Anglophone West Africa, Khadija L. Usman. Khadija is a lawyer who is an expert in the field. Today we are having an expository episode and she's going to be so gracious to allow us pick her brain on the subject of digital rights. Thank you for honoring our invitation, Khadija.
Thank you, Dinchi. Hello, listeners. You cannot see me, but just imagine I'm waving you a big hello.
Thank you very much. So how are you doing today, Khadija?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm fine too.
Well, how is everybody listening? I hope you guys are doing well. Thank you, Dinchi, for a fantastic intro.
You're welcome, Khadija. It's a delight to have you here, and we're going straight into the topic for today. So, Khadija, what are digital rights?
What are digital rights? Digital rights are human rights, first of all, but they are human rights that relate to your use of digital technologies and the internet. So any rights that you can imagine would come from the way you use the technology that you use day to day and how you get on the internet. That is what digital rights are. They're an extension of our fundamental human rights.
Okay. Digital rights are an extension of our fundamental human rights. That's an interesting bit. Okay, so digital rights, do they affect every person? Are there people who are not privileged to have this right? Is it an issue that everybody should be concerned with?
Absolutely. So we've definitely come to a point in the world where we can no longer do without the internet or digital technologies. Every single person in one way or the other is affected by them. My question to you would be, when I gave the definition, was there any part of that you could relate to?
Definitely.
Good to know.
Definitely. Okay, so we've established that digital rights affect every single person, especially given the rise of digitalization. The world is becoming a modern world. Okay, so what are the basic digital rights? I know you've already said digital rights are human rights, but what are these rights we're talking about? Let's not walk in the assumption that everybody already knows what these rights are. So there isn't somebody somewhere thinking that, oh, it's my right to carry something that doesn't belong to me. And where can we learn more about them? For people that are just listening to this, some people that are just hearing about this for the first time, where can they learn more in this respect?
Right. So let's start from, like you call them, the basics. And the most basic would be freedom of expression. You have the right to freely express your ideas, opinions, and information online without censorship or restriction. There's also the very important rights to privacy and data protection. You have the right to control your personal information and the data that you share online without unauthorized access from outsiders, I guess. You have the right to access information. You have the right to freedom of association. So you have the right to gather in any group that you like, whatever Twitter space you like, whatever Instagram live you like, so those are some of the most basic rights when it comes to all things digital. Where can you find them? You can find them on our Ayeta toolkit. Ayeta is AYETA.Africa. That is where you can find it. It's a toolkit for digital rights defenders, journalists, and anybody who is interested. It starts by defining the right, and you can find everything you need about digital rights on our IETA toolkit. It was developed to help digital rights defenders, journalists, and anybody who interacts with digital rights to help them navigate the space. So it's going to let you know who the actors are in the space, what events there are for you to learn more. It tells you what to do in terms of an internet shutdown, how to secure your digital devices, and everything in between. And you can find it on our website, ayeta.africa, spelled AYETA.Africa.
Okay, thank you, Khadija, and thank you, Paradigm Initiative, for putting that piece of work together for anybody who wants to learn about this. You've saved us the stress of research all by ourselves. Okay, we'll be going on a very short break now, and when we come back, we will be talking about the role of individuals in protecting their rights and those of others. Do not go anywhere, we'll be right back. The PIN podcast is sponsored by Paradigm Initiative, a non-governmental organization that connects underserved youth with digital opportunities and ensures the protection of their rights. We have worked in communities across Nigeria since 2017, building experience, community trust, and an organizational culture that positions us as a leading organization in ICT for development and digital rights on the continent. Learn more about us by visiting our official website www.paradigmhq.org. Alright, welcome back. My name is Dinchi and I am here today with
Khadija.
Okay, so going straight to it, Khadija, what's the role of the average individual in protecting their rights and those of others? What are the few things that we can do as digital rights actors, in quotes, to promote this cause, so to speak?
So thank you very much for that question. I would say that the rule of thumb is that your rights stop where the nose of another person starts. You don't want to ever be in a situation where you're extending yourself to the point that you're making another person uncomfortable or causing them harm. The next thing I would say is that I would use the model that we use when it comes to internet shutdowns to contextualize what we can do as digital rights actors, which is the prepare, prevent, and resist framework. You want to be ready for anything. You want to have all the knowledge that you need. You want to know what your rights are, know where to research about this, know what counts as a digital rights violation, so that when it comes to you, you would know how to respond to it. The next thing, of course, is prevent. You want to be armed enough to prevent any violation from happening. So if we're talking about privacy issue, you want to have the best digital hygiene practices. You want to know what links to click and what not to click. You want to have two-factor authentication and the like. And then we have the resist part. So when such a violation happens, you want to also be able to respond to it. You want to be able to go to law enforcement where relevant. You want to be able to go to the organizations that provide such respite for individuals. One of which will be Paradigm Initiative and our Reporti platform. You can report any digital rights violations, cyberbullying, harassment, you name it, we're there. And Paradigm Initiative is going to deploy all of its resources to provide support to you from wherever you are in the global south.
Okay, thank you, Khadija. I mean, it's evident that PIN is going out on a limb to protect, safeguard the digital rights of all Africans. You know, interestingly, when you said, when you were talking about the prepare, prevent, and resist,
Yeah.
I formed a short is it acronym now or abbreviation? PPR. And
Nice.
I thought that when we get to the resist, it's going to be more about resisting taking part in this cyberbullying and all of that. Do not be part of it. Do not share content. Do not engage with such content. But it is definitely, I guess, it's all part of the good work we are doing towards this. So lastly, to conclude this episode, could you please just rate the digital scene in Africa? And so we are not too vague, I'm going to say West Africa, because that's a little bit more particular to us. How would you gauge the digital scene in West Africa? Are we on track? Are we moving as we are supposed to, or is it something that we still needs to be a lot of awareness around and all of that? How would you place this here in West Africa?
So I would say that it's a work in progress and it looks different. I would score every country differently because Africa is not a country. We all have our unique struggles and our unique wins.
That's
so
true.
We have maybe a country like Senegal at this time has TikTok shut down. We had Nigeria shut down Twitter in 2022. We've had some countries maybe shut down the internet during times of conflict or elections. At the same time, we had a country like Ghana being at the forefront of having a data protection authority. We've also seen countries like Gambia reduce the cost of internet access. We've seen other governments, beyond not following the trend of shutting down the internet. We have also seen some countries in Africa, especially, just using cybersecurity apps to repress the voices of journalists. So it looks different per country in terms of wins and gaps. But what you can do as an individual is, of course, to start by learning, start interacting with legislation, make sure that you are not the perpetrator of any rights violations, and do what you can to hold the government accountable and demand for the rights that they are supposed to give you. So yeah, I would say that is where we are. It is a work in progress, and we all have a role to play in ensuring that we move up the ladder, I guess, when it comes to the place of Africa or even the global south when it comes to digital rights.
Okay, so it's safe to say, that as far as digital rights are concerned in Africa, some days are happy days and some days are rainy days for us. On good days, we get legislations that support us, and some days we are not so happy with the government. So thank you very much, Khadija, for coming in today, honoring our invitation and letting us pick your brain on the subject. It's been an interesting one. Thank you to all our listeners for sticking with us till the end. We look forward to providing you with more insightful conversations on the digital scene in the following weeks. Do not forget to subscribe if you've not already done that, and see you soon. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us on today's Pin podcast. Be sure to join in for our next episode. You can follow us on our social media platforms: Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram @ParadigmHQ.